Hi students, welcome back. Let's complete what we started yesterday. Yesterday we had the grammar parts. So we have here the grammar that we took in Unit 2. We talked about, we had 4 forms which were used to, be used to, was or were going to, and would. And we explained that each one is related to the past, something that was habitual, that was repeated, or something that started in the past and still continuing, and something that was planned for the future but was in the past. Planning but in the past. And we did some exercises in the book. I gave you 4 left for you as an assignment, which is to use the phrases to write sentences about your own childhood. And I told you that you can use either would or used to, or if you want, you can use the negative part, which is didn't used to. And we have here the 4 parts. You had the freedom to choose whatever you want. So I'm going to do like yesterday and give you my examples. So we have number 5, have a favorite teacher. For example, I used to have a favorite geography teacher. 6, help with the chores. We can say, for example, when I was younger, I didn't used to help with the chores. So we have here, this is negative. And also we have here in number 7, hate going to bed. We can say something in the past. When I was little, I used to hate going to bed early. And we have number 8, make up funny stories. You can say, when my brother and I were young, we would make up funny stories. So these are just examples. You are free to change, but you have to stick to using one of the forms that you are asked to add in the sentences. And of course, you are going to relate to your childhood. This is the most important part. Okay, so let's see. After that, back to our basic title, which is Rags and Riches. We can see this young man, and here we have the idea of rags and riches. Now there's a question for you. What changes the condition from rags to riches? What changed this man's condition from being this to this? So here the answer is obvious, which is going to be, of course, we have, yes, money. So money is an important factor, but there's a question also for you. In your opinion, how important is money? Is it very important? Are you satisfied with just an amount? You don't have to be very rich. Can you achieve what you want in life without? And this is the other question that you have here, which is here, can people achieve goals and be happy without being rich? So here the question is not without money, no, without being rich. So money, yes, it is a very important thing in our lives, but it is not very important. We have different points of view, so you can just think about it. Do you think it is possible or not? And how do you think, to which extent is the importance of money? This is for you to think about. Yes. Now moving on, we have here 3 parts in our lesson today. We have the conversation part, we have the listening part, and we are going to follow up with the pronunciation part. So your objectives are going to be to give the meanings of words based on the text, use real talk and specific phrases in sentences, numerate the appearance of different forms of money through a listening task, and the last part, differentiate between different pronunciations of ed. Yes, let's go ahead. Now first we have here, yes, imagine. Imagine that you got 30,000 riyals, a prize, a graduation gift. You got this money for you. Now, if you got this, what would you do with it? So just imagine now that you got today 30,000 riyals. What would you do with this money? So it's sure that there are hundreds of answers, things that you have planned to do, or things that you want. Other people, they would prefer to do something else. That's why we have here a conversation between two young men here, which are, yes, we are going to meet Ahmed and Ibrahim. Now here we have Ahmed's parents have given him 30,000 for graduation. Listen to the conversation between Ahmed and Ibrahim. So I want you to just concentrate and listen to the conversation between the two boys. Ahmed, he got the 30,000. He has it now. So we're going to see now. Okay, so the question for you is, imagine that you have 30,000 riyals. You got it a prize. You got it a gift from your parents, for example, for graduation. You have this prize for you, or this money, and you're thinking, what can I do with it? So we have here the question, what would you do with it? You can, maybe something you had in mind before, or something that you are planning to do. Other people would prefer to do something else. So the answers can be very different. That's why we have here the conversation between Ahmed and Ibrahim. Now we are going to listen to the conversation between them. Ahmed's parents have given him 30,000 for graduation. Listen to the conversation between Ahmed and Ibrahim. So just listen. So Ahmed, he has the money. We're going to see what does Ahmed have in mind. Okay, ready? Yes.
My parents gave me 30,000 riyals for graduation.
Wow. What are you going to do with all that cash?
I don't know. I'm going around in circles about it, driving myself and everyone else crazy. At first, I was going to do something really indulgent with it, like take a vacation. I was ready to book it, but then I got cold feet.
Why? I think a vacation sounds like a great idea. You've worked really hard for 4 years. You deserve a break.
That's true. But on the other hand, I don't want to spend all that money on something that will be over in a week. So then, I was thinking of buying something useful, like a used car.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it would be a great convenience to have a car. But at the same time, I'm used to taking public transportation, and I really don't need it. Frankly, I can't think of anything that I really need. So maybe I should put the money aside for a rainy day.
Well, yes. I suppose the alternative would be to just put it in the bank until you need it.
Right. But then again, what's the point of having money if you're not enjoying it? Maybe I should do something indulgent with it, like take that vacation.
Now I see how you're driving everyone crazy.
Okay. So you heard the conversation between Ahmed and Ibrahim here. Now the first question that we have in your book, in the conversation part, is what options is Ahmed considering? He has a lot in mind. So here he thought about 3 things. We can see that he mentioned something about taking a vacation and also buying a used car. And also he mentioned something about just saving the money for a rainy day. And we'll see later what does it mean. So we have here the conversation. Now the last thing Ibrahim said, that now I know why you are driving people crazy. Ahmed here, he doesn't mean that he, in the same meaning that he's driving someone crazy, but this is used when someone is annoying, someone is bothering the other person. So it's just like an expression. This is the first one that we are going to discuss, which is real talk. Now we mentioned real talk in Unit 1. We said that they are informal expressions that can be used. So if I say that someone is driving me crazy, it means that someone is bothering or annoying in some matter. Okay, back to the question we have here. How? How is he driving crazy? So we can see first, he goes around in circles. Now, this doesn't mean that Ahmed here is really going around in circles. This is also another part of real talk, which means that he has no goal. He doesn't have an end that he's going to, and he's just going around and around to the same ideas. He doesn't have a decision. So this is what we mean by going around and around in circles. And he gets cold feet. Whenever he thinks about something, he gets cold feet. So do you think that this is what we mean by saying, well, Flan, he has gotten cold feet, or I got cold feet? So if I have a plan, or I want to do something, but at the last thing, I change my mind, or just go back, that means that I got scared, which is an expression we can say that someone got cold feet. So also this is one part or two parts of the real talk. The third question that you have in the book, what do you think he'll do with the money and why? So after just thinking about this and that, what do you think that Ahmed will do with the money? And why? Why do you think he will do it? So you can just go back to your book, read if you want the conversation again, and then you can just conclude what do you think what is he going to do with the money? Yes, this is a question for you. And also here we have two words or two things that we can use as real talk. Would you mind getting that amount of cash? So cash is clear, it's another word used for money. Now, would you mind taking the money? Personally, I don't mind. So here, would you mind is some kind of expression or form that we can use also to say, would you like or would you accept or not? Okay, so we have here, these are both. And the last the last expression that we have from the real talk is, of course, we have the time glass here. And we can say that, would you put your money aside for a rainy day? This is what I said that we'll go back to. Now, if I say that, okay, I'm going to take my money and put it aside for a rainy day, it doesn't mean that I'm going to wait until it rains, but it's a kind of expression used to say that I'm going to leave it or just put it aside until I need it. Also a real talk expression. So you have here in your book, there are 6 expressions that are used as real talk that you can apply from today. Discussing options. Now, when Ahmed and Ibrahim, they were discussing, there are many options that Ahmed, he had in mind, and then he changed, he gave another option. So here, okay, so these are the expressions that we have. Now, moving, since we're talking about money, we have a listening script. So open your books on the listening lesson in your books, Unit 2. Now listen to the lecture about the history of money. Write the date by each form of money, then number the forms of money in the order they were used. So just to take an idea, before we start, here we have, these are 6 boxes. You can see that we have the first one is done for you, which is number 2. So you are going to put them in order. Which one started first? So we have number 2 is done. So you're going to start with number 1. Then number 2 is done. Then you are going to numerate them depending on what started first. And to prove your order, you're going to have to also write the date that we have. So the date here is 1200. You are going to also to write the dates of the other. Yes, so let's go back. Ready?
The first way in which goods were bought was not with money. Instead, people used to trade something of value that they possessed for something they needed. The most common things to trade with were cattle and crops, like corn and wheat. So, for example, if you were a farmer, you might trade your corn with a butcher for meat. The butcher might trade his meat with a shoemaker for shoes. This kind of trade was called bartering. Bartering began as far back as 9000 BCE. However, there was a problem with bartering. What if someone had something to trade but no one wanted or needed it? Or what if people could not agree on what was a fair trade? To solve this problem, the first kind of money came about around 1200 BCE in China, where people would use special shells called cowrie shells to purchase goods. These shells were the most widely and longest used form of money in history. In some parts of Africa these shells were used until the middle of the 1900s. The earliest metal coins were produced in China around 1000 BCE. The coins were made out of an inexpensive metal and had holes in them so that they could be put together to make a chain. The earliest coins made of valuable metals were silver coins produced in Turkey around 500 BCE. Coins made of silver, bronze, and gold were soon being used by the Greeks, Romans, and Persians. By 800 CE, the first paper money had appeared in China. This form of money eventually became common around the world. At one point, people probably thought cowrie shells were going to be used forever. That's what many of us think about coins and paper money now. But money is likely to continue to change. In fact, a new kind of money is already being exchanged over the internet. This money, called electronic money or digital cash, functions like real cash, except it's not on paper. The money in a bank account is converted to a digital code, which can be used to make purchases. While digital cash is very new, it is expected to become common in the years ahead.
Yes. So this is your listening script. Let's just see our table. Now just try to recall what is the first. So the second was cowrie shells. You have here the options. You have paper money, bartering, electronic money, inexpensive metal coins, coins made of valuable metals. So the first one is going to be, yes, bartering. And the date that you heard was 9000 BC. Then we have the cowrie shells. And after that you have the four. What happened? We have inexpensive metal coins. And the date was 1000 BCE. And after inexpensive metal coins came the coins made of valuable metals, which happened, yes, 500. And after that, we had our paper money that we are used to, which happened 800 CE. And we have the last thing, electronic money. There is no date, so it is continuing until today. So here, these are the parts that we have in the listening. Now the last part that we have after the listening is the pronunciation part. Now here, you can see that we have here the ED. So I'm going to open the script that you just listened to, and I want you just to read the words that have an ED. And if you have a paper or a note next to you, I want you just to divide or just draw a quick paper that has 3 parts. You can just, something simple, not too much, and put 1, 2, 3. And then try to just write the words while pronouncing them. So we have the first one, for example, used. This has an ED because I asked you to focus on the ED. Used. Used. After you pronounce it, or while you're just pronouncing and repeating it, just write it in the first one, the first column. And then if you look around, you'll find the other one, or the second one, which is possessed. Possessed. Now if you say used and possessed, are they the same pronunciation of the ED? Specifically the ED. If you think so, it's up to you. If not, you're going to put it in column number 2. But note that I have 3 columns here, so watch out. Another word is needed, needed. So again, so you can differentiate. Used, possessed, needed. Moving on to the second slide. Now here, the ones in the colored part, which is mean that we just passed by them. So for example, called here is in the first line. We have here called and wanted. Called, wanted. They both have ed, but are they the same pronunciation? Produced, produced. Appeared, appeared. Produced, appeared. Exchanged, exchanged. Converted, converted. Expected, expected. Okay? So you notice that all the words that we pronounced, they had the ed. And I told you to divide. So we'll see the result. Yes. Now in English, the past tense ending ed has 3 different pronunciations. The first one is a direct D. So when you say used, called, appeared, exchanged, you can see that it's a D, direct D. And this one, you can watch out and pay attention that you put it when the last letter is either a B, a G, a V, has the Z sound like used, or the Z, TH, the J, the M, the N, the L, and the R. Then we have the other one, which is, if you can see, there is like a small I, which means that there is like an id sound here. So it's different from D. To try it out, you can say used, needed, used, needed. Okay? Called, wanted, called, wanted. Appeared, converted. Here the id sound is going to be when the letter D or T is at the end of the word or the end of the verb. And then we have the third one, which is like the T. If you notice that I said possessed, the ed turns into like a T sound, which is done when we have the last letters are the P or the K, the F, the S, the CH, or the SH, like possessed, produced, and worked. So here you can see that there are 3 divisions. Maybe some, they didn't notice the difference before, but now you know that yes, it is the same ed that we are used to, but there are 3 pronunciations, either a direct D or an id sound or like a T. So at the end, our outline for today was that we took the conversation part. Now it was a discussion about what to do with money. We listened and answered questions and predicted meanings of words from the text. We built conversations using discussion phrases and applied also real talk. And then in the listening part, there was a script about different types of money. We listened for answers and enumerated the appearance of money forms. And the last one, we have the pronunciation. We knew how to pronounce the ed in the 3 different ways that we have here, which is the D, the id, and the T. So this was our lesson for today, hoping that you have focused on it and just try to practice from now how to pronounce the ED correctly and think about how to invest your money. See you soon.